Hey everyone, and welcome to our Sunday weekly warm-up. This is our weekly Sunday show where on Sundays in the evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we get to go live. Brad Hughes is with me, of course. My name is Ray Hughart, and we are so thrilled every Sunday to bring you different experiences. Today we have an incredible guest that if you are not following on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else, this will be a moment where you're going to add somebody to your PLN. She's also a featured speaker at our Teach Better conference, and we have a lot of action steps to share as we get you ready, get you in the mindset to rock an awesome week, heading into a brand new week with students. So we'll be right back as we're getting started. But as a reminder, we are only streaming in our private Facebook group here on Sunday. This gives you an opportunity to connect with not only the people here on the screen, but also connect with people in our private group, the Teach Better private group, which you all might have access to at teachbettergroup.com. If you haven't already joined, you should go do that. It's 7,000 educators strong. I think the last time I checked, it was like 7,200 educators strong.
Wow.
People that just get to share ideas, share questions, share experiences. And that's why we love being able to all stream together on Sundays, so you guys can learn from one another just as much as hopefully you're learning from the incredible guests we're able to feature here. We then do share this with our entire network on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. So everyone has access to it, but Sundays are a little bit special and we get the family together. So let's get the fun started.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Sunday weekly warm-up, streaming exclusively on the Teach Better Facebook group. And I'm with Ray Hughart and Danae Acker. How are you both doing tonight?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
So good. So I love Sundays. I love being able to get together. And like I told our crew many, many times, I was so excited for our surprise guest this week.
We are full of surprises, and Danae Acker is no stranger to the Teach Better family, Ray. I remember that she appeared on the Morning Daily Drop-In as a guest, and I was captivated and excited that she's joining us tonight. Danae, can you let us know who you are, where you are, and what you do?
All right. So I am super excited to be back with our Teach Better family. My name is Danae Acker, and I am a digital integration specialist here in South Carolina. I work with our high school teachers on just integrating technology, going through those coaching cycles, and just being better teachers for our students.
I love that. Better teachers for our students. I feel like that is so in line with the Teach Better mindset, right? We're just all striving to work where every single day we're just a little bit better than we were yesterday and a little bit better tomorrow than we were today. And how then can we do that not only for ourselves, but with supporting others around us? So I love that the work you do day in, day out totally aligns with everything that I know this group works really hard to support each other with. It's so wonderful.
Ray and Danae, I'm excited that Debbie, Carrie, Livia, Debbie, and, well, Livia again are joining us in the comments. And if you're joining us in the comments tonight, let us know who you are, where you are, what you do, and what you're looking forward to most learning with and connecting with Danae tonight.
So good. So good. Danae, would you mind, when you're thinking through, obviously you get to do a lot with your day-to-day role, but what do you think is your favorite part?
I think my favorite part, it was one of the favorite parts that I loved about teaching, is that when I'm working with teachers and they have those light bulb moments and it's like, I never thought of it that way, or, ooh, I didn't think that I could do it, but I did it. It's just a very satisfying feeling to see teachers have that light bulb moment, because a lot of times we think of our students having those moments and learning. But as teachers and educators, we're still learning too. I call us lead facilitators and lead learners. As an educator, you should not stop growing and learning. You should be alongside your students, having those opportunities to learn with them. And so it's just very rewarding to see teachers have those moments and to go beyond what they thought that they could do.
I love those aha moments. Brad, I know you just kicked off your brand new school year. Did you feel like teachers were able to experience and celebrate those aha moments even in their first week back?
Absolutely, Ray. I mean, it's all about coming back together and opening the school, welcoming the community in, and then recognizing what gifts we have and what power and influence we have, both educators and students back to educators as well. Growing a new community every school year is a real opportunity that educators have. It's something to cherish, it's something to relish. And Danae, I'm excited to hear about how you are welcoming your faculty back into your spaces, especially as a high school educator. What's that been like for you?
So we were very fortunate this year to actually kick off our school year with a high school conference. And so I was able to invite friends in from my PLN. We had even some of our teachers lead sessions, and it was just a great celebration of learning to just kind of kick off the school year, talk about some of the new things that we had going on in the district, some new technology, some new resources. We had our assistant superintendents there. So it was great for teachers to see even our district level people in the buildings, learning alongside of them. And it was just a great celebration of learning.
I feel like I love that start to the year because you're kind of addressing the things that you've already emphasized you really value. It's like you're emphasizing opportunities to learn and grow from one another. You're emphasizing that sometimes the beginning of the school year is a little nerve-wracking, but like you're building a sense of community. You're bringing in people to connect with. I mean, that's so in line with ensuring that you're not only kind of kicking off the year with success with the right core values in mind, but very similar to the core values of the Sunday Weekly Warmup, which is trying to bring our audience all together, build a sense of community every single week before we head into an incredible opportunity to work with students and also connect you with new faces if you haven't yet connected. So I like the similarity.
Oh, yeah.
Today, I'm wondering if you share your time and expertise with one campus or with a number of campuses. Tell us about the communities that you serve.
So in District 5, there are two high schools, Westside High School and TL Hanna High School. And some of you may be familiar with TL Hanna because if you watched the movie Radio, Radio is actually a part of TL Hanna family for a very long time. And so I get the opportunity to work with those teachers every day. And it is absolutely amazing. I know a lot of times if you talk to coaches, they'll say, secondary is kind of hard. It's a hard, they're hard educators to crack. But all it is just peeling back those layers and really getting to the core of what they're going through in their classrooms and meeting them where they are so that they can see those opportunities for growth.
That is not easy to do.
No, it's definitely not easy. But building relationships has been my number one go-to, making sure that I'm talking to them about their weekend, talking to them about their kids if they have any, just making those connections and getting to them on a personal level, speaking to them as a person and not so much an educator. It allows me that opportunity to now come in and speak to them about education and getting better in their classroom.
It's so funny because in the comments, I know a lot of our friends, even joining us live here today, are coaches, and they might be thinking through, okay, how am I going to continue to build relationships? I know we have a lot of questions for you that we're going to get into in our discussion coming up, but do you have any strategies, any like go-to ways to build relationships if we have some new coaches or coaches that are struggling to foster those relationships they may not yet have developed?
Definitely. So one thing that I do is at the very beginning of the year, I send out a survey, and it's really more of a get to know you survey, sort of like a survey inventory that you may give your students. So I'm asking them, how do you learn best? What ways do you prefer to receive PD? Some people like to get an email and say, just give it to me. I'll do it whenever I have a moment. But some like that one-on-one, face-to-face. But then I also ask questions like, what's your favorite color? Who's your team for football? What are those snacks that when you're at QT in the morning pumping gas before you come, what is something that you run in and get? And that allows me to just know those small things. And so if I'm going to work with a teacher or if I see a teacher kind of looking down, let me go and grab her a Dr. Pepper and bring it when I just stop by to say hello, because that means so much sometimes just to know that somebody was thinking about you. I also have note cards that I keep. And so I'll do a handwritten note card with like a little bag of candy or something simple and just stick it in their box. So when they go to their box on their planning, they get a little note card and some candy and just some pick me up and some inspiration. You got this, keep going. I saw the wonderful work you were doing. I saw you hanging student work in the hallway. I just wanted to let you know that I think it's awesome and you're an awesome educator. And sometimes that's all it takes just to build those relationships so that you can begin to really do your work.
Hey, Danae, sometimes being a coach means you have to have a challenging conversation with a colleague about how he or she can move their practice forward, maybe in a way that they didn't realize. But sometimes those challenging conversations can be kind of scary. Have you ever thought of a time when that relationship investment you made up front paid off in dividends about a challenging conversation you had to have with a colleague about moving his or her practice forward?
Definitely. Because I was able to show myself friendly and build that foundation on a friendly basis, when I had to go in to have a hard conversation, they knew I was coming from a place of love and encouragement. So it wasn't a gotcha. It wasn't, I'm trying to, have people see that you're a bad teacher. It's, I'm coming to help you. I'm coming in to partner with you and to help. We're going to do this together. You're not in it alone. And so really that foundation is key when you have to have those hard conversations, because now they know you're coming from a good place and not a place of a gotcha or I'm trying to see you fail, because we don't want our teachers to fail because they're doing hard work. And so we're there to partner with them and continue to help them do that hard work.
I know we have so many things to dive in here too, but we're breaking the rules. We got to get into our discussion because we're practically already into these action steps, these educational talks. So we'll be right back to truly just to continue this conversation.
Hey friends, you're with the Sunday weekly warm-up streaming exclusively on the teachbettergroup.com here on Facebook. We're with guest Danae Acker, instructional coach, incredible educator, and our special guest, Ray Hughart. What's coming to mind for you as we shift into some deeper conversation with Danae tonight?
I think this is just a never-ending opportunity because, Danae, you have so many different ideas to share. I know we could continue to focus on coaching, which I think is actually a wonderful space to maybe stay in for a minute, because all of us, regardless of our role, are trying to be learners and also be leaders in our community. So the strategies you're using as a coach is so important. And then at some point, I'd love to shift a little, because you have a lot more to share than just your experience as a coach. You've done a whole lot and continue to do more and more and more. So before we fully transition into that, if you had one suggestion to our community listening here of how to be a strong collaborator, because that's really your biggest role as a coach, is you're really striving to collaborate and support the people around you. Do you have any pieces of advice that you could give our community here that maybe they could take into their week this week?
Oh, yes. So to be a strong collaborator, I believe that, so a little backstory. I'm not an educator first. I actually was in business and marketing. And so and then I moved into education. And one thing that I really took from the business world and really brought with me was my sense of networking. And networking doesn't just mean on social media. That means even within your building, even across buildings within your district. And so I firmly believe collaboration is part of building that strong network. And I really have the most amazing PLN online and even offline. And when it comes to those times where I get down or I get defeated sometimes, because we all have those moments, but I have strong people in my life that will pick me up, give me encouragement, collaborate with me when I have questions or when I can't seem to think through an issue or a problem. They'll say, well, have you looked at it this way, Danae? Mm-hmm. Have you tried doing these things? And sometimes it's very simple, something that I probably could have thought of myself, but because I'm in that moment in my mind, I need someone on the outside to say, hey, you got this. open up your viewpoint, shake that off and you keep going. And so building your network online and offline is a huge part in that collaboration piece.
I think that Danae, you, Ray, and myself, as well as our Teach Better family, agrees that the answer that we're seeking is probably a lot closer than we think. And leveraging our networks, whether they're within our classrooms, within our faculties, or at a distance through social networking or a Facebook or an exclusive Teach Better group, the answer is probably closer than you think. We recently at our school did a faculty activity that you may have heard about, where I asked teachers and educators at each table to tally the number of years in education, as well as the number of grades that they'd served and the number of buildings that they served in. And the wealth of expertise within any faculty, within any space, is absolutely incredible. It's important, though, as school leaders and as coaches and as faculty members, to remind each other that the answer is probably closer than we think. And we have what it takes to do hard work, and we have what it takes to solve challenging problems. I'm wondering if those Dr. Peppers and those treats that you invest in really help people stay motivated to dig in, to do the hard work, Danae.
I think it does. Because even when our administration said, hey, you get a jeans day, wear jeans tomorrow with your favorite sports team. It's those little things. And, yes, we would love to get paid more. Yes, we would love for the systems to change and all of that, of course. But while you're in the trenches doing the work right at this moment, it's those little things that do give you that pick me up that you need to keep going. And so that's why I firmly believe in my love language is gifts and words of affirmation. So I strongly believe in also giving that to my educators.
Danae, when we were kind of getting ready for the show, I know that we were telling you that during our discussion portion of the show that we love to have every single week, we really want to focus on action steps. We obviously love bringing our community together. We love seeing people in the comments sharing their love and appreciation and ideas. That's such a beauty of the show. We really do want people to feel like they're able to conquer the week. And sometimes little small action steps, little challenges give us a focus, right? Kind of firmly puts our feet on the ground. I wonder if you could think through the action steps that you may have prepared and point us in a direction of what you think our community needs to hear this afternoon.
So one of the first things that I tell teachers when I'm working with them is that you don't have to be the expert. Like, let's get rid of that out of our heads. We don't have to be the expert. No one told you to come into education that you have to know everything all the time. You have to be on. No, consider yourself a learner in your environment. You are the lead learner. So if there's something that you may not know all of, tell your students, say, hey, I'm going to let you guys teach me a little bit today. So we're going to all together do this activity. We're both going to learn, and I want you to share, and I'll share what I've learned. And it takes the pressure off of you as the educator if you just let go of that control of feeling like you have to be the expert, because you do not have to be.
Brad, how do you see that? I'm sure not only in your own experience teaching, but also supporting a staff. Are you able to give them permission to really just truly model what learning feels like to students?
Well, yeah, I'm nodding my head and I'm smiling, and I'm thinking every time I've come to the Sunday weekly warm up as a co-host, I'm engaged in and I'm immersed in just the advice that I need as a school leader. As we take a look and we shift from week 1 to week 2, myself and a lot of my colleagues, we're positioning ourselves as the folks that need to be in the know. And there's a lot of pressure, because as we're dealing with new things and emerging issues, we don't know how it might turn out. But Ray and Danae, this is the exact advice I need to take back with me tomorrow. That's what about readopting that learning stance where, yeah, we might have tough things ahead Monday or Tuesday. We don't know where the staircase is going to go, but we might know where the important first step is. And if we position ourselves as learners, we also are in a process of getting better and better. So if we can shift from knowing to doing, or from being determined to know to determined to try and live through practice, there really isn't anything we can do. And that is important as a school leader for myself to remember and to embody, because if I embody it and if I'm walking the talk, Ray and Danae, then faculty around me will also have that permission too. And Danae, what you said really resonates with me is that the tighter we hold on to control, actually the slipperier our grip might be. And I'm wondering,
Mhm.
let's talk more about the ways that you empower the people that you mentor and coach to let go a little bit of control to allow creativity to flourish.
So one way that I empower our educators is that I let them know, if they're trying something new that we've talked about in our coaching sessions or during our planning meetings, is that I'll come in and I will co-teach with you. So that way I can model what letting go really means and what that looks like in that moment. For one thing, we have our innovation learning lab where we have like our robots, our coding. It's like our makerspace on steroids. And so whenever teachers want to try those tools, I let them know up front. I know how to work them and connect the tools, but I'm not an expert in it at all. But I'm going to come into your classroom. We're going to do this together. And I'm going to show you that if you just set that bar, your students will meet it. Sometimes they will even exceed it. And you're like, wow, I didn't even think of it that way. And so when I go into that classroom and we do it together and I'm showing them that they can allow the students just to have some exploration time with different things, their world opens up, and then they start thinking of other lessons where they can let go of that control. And they think of other lessons where they can ask the students, okay, well, what do you guys think? Do you want to do it this way? Do you want to do it this way? To give them some voice and some opportunity for their own thoughts within the lesson. And once that ball starts rolling, I mean, man, to see teachers' classrooms after that is truly amazing.
Ray, I'm wondering if you're thinking back to your middle school classrooms and the moments where you decided with those young adolescents to give up some control and to shift the voice and choice to them. Is it something that I'm wondering if it's something that they began to crave once they had that, and if there's a momentum to be built there?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of goes along the lines of very similar conversations I've not only experienced, but been able to have with teachers as we start the year this year with the grid method. I mean, the grid method, the mastery framework that the Teach Better team does an enormous amount of training on, which we won't necessarily dive into right now, but if you don't know what the grid method is, go to teachbetter.com and go find out. But with that being said, the mastery framework allows for the teacher to kind of step away from the content delivery system and begin to support learners in taking ownership over their learning experience, advocating for themselves, and really fostering an entire learning community. And so as we're thinking through students craving it, that's actually why many teachers that move into this format don't ever go back. Like they stay in this lane of using this framework because the students don't like when you've given them the freedom to explore and collaborate and have ownership over their learning, and then taking that away. That's like, wait. I love being able to have control over my experience. Don't take it from me. So there's so much similarity here that I know our community, just specifically even within our Teach Better private group, are currently experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Danae, was there more practical advice that you wanted to make sure that our listeners and audience knew?
Yes. So my mom is an educator as well, and she would always say, he who does the work does the learning. And so that resonates so deeply with me because again, it goes back to feeling like we have to have the control, feeling like we have to be the expert. But that's why we go home so tired every day, because we're the ones doing all the work. And so if we've been there, done that, right? We have our diploma, we have our degrees. And so it's our students' chance to learn. And so if we're doing all the work for them, are they truly learning, or are they regurgitating information to us? And so it goes back into what I said before. If you let go of that control and you consider yourself a learner along with your students, they're the ones going home tired at night and have to pass out as soon as they hit the door, because they're the ones doing the work. Therefore, they're the ones that are doing the learning.
Totally
Danae
true.
and Ray, Jody McNally's in the comments and is letting us know that as an educator in a new position this year, she's been lucky to learn a lot from her students and her paraprofessionals, and talk about leveraging expertise. I mean, every member of the school community and every role adds value, Ray and Danae, and leaning on each other and being vulnerable and open to shifting control and shifting voice and choice to others in our space is so key.
Well, and I think a lot of this goes into, I know our next segment is focused on progress over perfection. It's kind of this ability to accept the fact that you might be entering into your lesson plan tomorrow with not the perfect plan, but a plan that's going to allow for you to take a risk, to try something new, and then be a reflective learner with students. So I'm really excited for more action steps here in this conversation, but let's transition because it sounds like we're all focusing on growth.
It is all about progress, not perfection, here on the Sunday weekly warm up, streaming live in our exclusive Teach Better group on Facebook. Ray Hughart and Brad Hughes joined with our guest, Danae Acker, instructional coach, technology champion, and believer in progress over perfection, Danae.
Oh, yes.
Always, always. With the feedback that you've been able to receive in your experience so far as a coach, obviously you've been able to bring a lot of your background knowledge into then the work that you're doing now. Would you mind sharing a hurdle you've had, maybe either this year already, or we can go back to last year if we need to?
Ooh, a hurdle that I've had. That's a good one, Ray.
I know. Because there's always a hurdle. Every day is a hurdle, but maybe something that sticks out.
So as a coach, sometimes it's hard to make those connections with your administrative team. And you have to, if you don't have a good cohesive relationship with your administrative team, it can make your work that more difficult. Because again, and as administrators, I know that they're busy, they're in meetings, they're having to deal with discipline. There's so many things that they could have a plan for the day, but as soon as they walk in that building, the plan could be kaput because something came up. And like I said, my mom is an educator, she was in administration. And so I definitely have heard the stories and know what it can look like. But one thing, I found myself that I wasn't able to meet with my administrative team the way that we had set it up previously. And so I was kind of getting down about that and beating myself up about it because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm a very reflective person. And so I was just thinking, okay, what am I doing? Am I being intentional about meeting? Am I just kind of, they can't meet, okay, just move on. And so one thing, I sat down and I looked at my calendar and I sent out some emails and I said, hey, I really want to make sure that I'm touching base with you, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes, to let you know what's going on. Because a lot of times as instructional coaches, administrators don't know exactly what we do in the work that we do. And so I want to make sure that I'm being very intentional about being upfront and honest with what I'm doing in the classrooms, what we're doing around the building, what we're doing with students, so that way they can be tapped into my work and that way they can know what's going on in the building. I'm a firm believer in administrators knowing what's going on in their building. Even if I have to be the one to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what is happening, just to let you know. And so when I sent out those emails, I was just able to start touching base with them again and giving them the information that they needed. And so that made my work become a lot easier because now administration was saying the same things I was saying, which in turn the teachers felt like, okay, this is important and this is what needs to happen.
Aligning communication among so many stakeholders has been a topic of our admin mastermind as well, Danae, and that happens on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock. And I'm wondering if you could wave a magic wand, but what do you wish school administrators and other school leaders would do differently or better to make communication more transparent and to build those relationships that are essential?
I think really touching base with teachers and going in, and I know this can be a difficult task, but again, if we're intentional about it, it can happen. But going into those classrooms and really seeing what's going on and talking to teachers, so that way when decisions are made, they're making it from the standpoint of what teachers truly need, what they see going on in the classroom, and not just kind of out there making decisions because, oh, when I was in the classroom, however many years ago, this is something that I wish I had. but being in the moment with those teachers, asking teachers what they need and what they have going on in those classrooms, and then going in to actually see, I think would be very helpful.
That clear
Go ahead, Ray.
I mean that clear communication is essential. We've said it before on the show, but like clear is kind. And I think that we're going to continue to talk about communication at a number of different elements of not only in Mastermind, but also we have a panel next week where we're going to talk about stakeholder communication. So I love the reflection of being able to say, okay, as I walk into this week, is there anything I can do to make my communication skills a little bit more effective? Any other challenges you want to leave our community with? Because I know that we also need to talk about the fact that you are a featured speaker at the Teach Better conference, and I want to make sure we're able to highlight the incredible session you'll be able to offer.
So one more thing that I like to tell my teachers is whenever you're trying something, start fast and start small, because sometimes we can wait for so long because we feel like things have to be in a certain order or I have to have it just right. Again, you don't have to be the expert. So go ahead and just start with one thing. And then start fast, start small, because then you'll start to have that snowball effect where you can start making quicker changes, and your students will appreciate it, because usually when you make those small shifts and allowing them to have ownership and voice, again, like you said, Brad, you will see the students want to crave that. And then those creative projects that we usually save until the end of the year are not so stressful for our students because we've been building that capacity all along for voice and choice.
I love that, Danae. Just start. That's your advice is just start, position yourself as a learner, maintain that learning stance, and that aligns beautifully with our sense of progress, not perfection. Ray, what's coming to mind for you?
I think it's important. I love the just start, because you're going to make mistakes, and don't be scared of those. And I love your suggestion to start small. I think sometimes the educators see a great idea and they feel guilty if they don't execute it 100% the way they saw it modeled for them. And the reality is, it's like, who needs to carry that stress, right? Like, start small. We know where we're heading, and maybe where we're heading will even adjust, and it will become even something, much brighter by the end of it. But if we can just start small, don't feel shame with that. I love the opportunity of finding something that you have a dream of and making it manageable first, so that you can see the scale of it later. I think that's a great challenge for our community here to reflect on as they head into their week.
And Ray and Danae, I'm thinking too about the modeling that provides for the students that we're serving. What better message than to let them know that we're going to start fast, we're going to start small, and we're going to learn into it together. You're going to seek their feedback and input. You're going to see how it's working for them, what's exciting them about the learning opportunities. But that's incredible modeling that that's what we want for our learners, is for them to have permission and to have support to start small, to start fast, and to learn into things. So incredible.
So good. Brad, I know that one of the main things we needed to talk about was the fact that Danae is joining us at the Teach Better Conference, October 14th and 15th. Yay! If you guys have not registered, you can register over at teachbetterconference.com. We are keeping this conference stinking small because we want everyone to have an opportunity to talk to every single person there. Our goal is for everybody to have a one-on-one conversation with the incredible featured speakers and attendees at this event. So spots are limited. If you are going to register, you got to make sure you do it ASAP. Otherwise, we just can't promise that we're going to have a ticket for you, which makes us so sad. So Danae, tell us a little bit about why Teach Better, and also what are you sharing for our community?
So ever since I have become part of the Teach Better community, I've just been in love with, the connections, what I'm learning. I consider myself a learner in the community. And so it's been very exciting. And so I finally have been able to get up the nerve to be able to present to you all. And I'm going to be talking about better PD. PD facilitation is one of the things. It's probably takes up about 75% of what I do. And so I want to just share what I've been doing in my district and what my team has been doing in our district, and how we've been reaching teachers in just different methods.
Do you have, if I'm an educator listening right now, do you have a suggestion for some questions I can be asking myself to best identify if this is the right session for me to make sure I attend at the conference? Is it a good fit for, an educator? Is it a good fit for an administrator? Who are you trying to reach? What types of questions might be answered?
So, if you are a facilitator of professional development in your school, and that can be classroom teachers who are teacher leaders, and maybe those afternoon team meetings that you all have, maybe you facilitate those and lead those. And so, if you're an administrator, if you're district personnel or central office personnel, this session would be for you. You're just going to learn about different ways that it doesn't necessarily have to be face-to-face professional development. It can be delivered and given in different ways. And I'll also share my survey that I give to my teachers, to those that come to my session. So that way you can have a framework of what to give your teachers. So as you're planning those professional development, you can look at your data and be able to plan effectively from there.
Danae, could you capture in a little bit of a thought what you think makes PD better for both the people receiving it, but also for a presenter like yourself?
Well, the first thing is the mindset. If you go into your professional development with a mindset of, I'm going to walk away with something, I think you're already starting on the best foot you can. A lot of times, professional development and education is seen as, oh, I don't want to do another PD. But that's because we got to change our mindset. And also, as a PD facilitator, do not waste time for your participants. Make sure it's something that is relevant to them. And that's, I think, where we get into trouble and get into that bad mindset, because we're doing these PDs that probably could have been an email, let's be honest. So you want to make sure that it's relevant and that it's something that is actionable for your participants to walk away with and do in their classroom, in whatever setting they're in education. They could do it right away.
I love these action steps. I know that everyone is going to be so excited to not only learn alongside you at the Teach Better conference, but also be able to be social with you. There's 3 networking events. People have opportunity to pick your brain and get to know you as a person just as much as be able to learn from you during your session. I cannot wait for us all to be together here in just about 4 weeks, friends. Literally, Brad, 4 weeks.
I cannot believe how quickly the conference is coming up. And Danae, you were talking about the Teach Better mindset and positive mindsets in general. As you wrap up your weekend and as you shift your attention into welcoming the work week ahead, do the Sunday scaries ever come up for you? And if so, how do you shift your mindset into openness and positivity?
So I feel that the Sunday scaries come for me when I don't know what's going on and I feel like I can't look ahead. And so one thing that I do to ease that is I open up my Google Calendar, and even though I'm a tech person, I still love pen and paper. I get my agenda and my planner. I have all the stickers, I have all the pens, but I just sit down and I look at my week and I plan my week out. And that helps to ease a lot of that, because now I know what's coming up. I'm not going to be surprised. Well, let's be honest, in education, surprises come up all the time.
Sure do.
But at least I can go in on Monday knowing that these things are the things that are happening. And then as things come up, I add them to my plan.
So good. I love that strategy as we head into a brand new week this coming week. For all of our friends here, please make sure you go connect with Danae. She's doing such incredible work. She's all over social media and has a lot of opportunities to not only share, but direct message her, have a conversation. I mean, you don't have to wait for the next 4 weeks just to meet her in person at the conference. Obviously, that would be a great time as well to continue to foster these relationships. But feel free to utilize this network anytime you are struggling with anything that might come up in the school so that we can continue to be better each and every day. Danae, thank you so much for coming live with us on a Sunday. Brad, It was so fun to have this conversation.
It's been wonderful. And I'd encourage everybody in our Teach Better family to start now, start fast, and start small, and connect with Danae on her Twitter or by any way that you can. Just start and make that connection. Danae, so much value you've offered to our conversation. I'm really grateful that you came into our space, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, friends. Have a wonderful week. And if you catch the stream tomorrow, as it streams on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn, feel free to tag a friend that you think might enjoy this conversation. We'll see you next week.